Hello everybody, welcome to Magic Cat Gaming. This is the Magic Cat, and welcome. So today we're going to play some Magic. We're going to play a wonderful little Delver style deck. For those of you who weren't around, Delver of Secrets was a critter back in Innistrad that was a 1 mana 1/1 that had the text on it. If at the beginning of your turn you may look at the top card of your library. If it is an instant or a sorcery, you may reveal it. If you do so, transform Delver of Secrets. And what it transformed into was a 3/2 flyer, which is pretty good since that could be attacking as early as turn 2. Now we don't have Delver of Secrets, but we do have a reasonable backup in Sprite Dragon. We don't want to take those out. Yeah, Sprite Dragon, also known as Dorat, the perfect pet. Now, Sprite Dragon is not as powerful as Delver, but it does a really good impression because it's doing what we want to do, which is getting benefit out of our instants and sorceries. So we have plenty of those to power up our dragon. Now, I'll be honest, the Shuffler hates this card apparently, and I've almost never drawn it on 2, but we're going to go ahead and play a game or two and see how it goes. If you've got any questions about the deck or about the playstyle in general, feel free to ask them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash that like button, as they say. I mean, if you can't shill for yourself, who can you shill for? Anyway, okay, opening hand, well, Shuffler decided to make me a liar with Dorat on 2. It's not the end of the world, and we are going to be going second. We'll go ahead and keep it, just because most of the hand is live, especially if I can put a Sea Dasher on Dorat and protect it with negate or neutralize on the next turn. That's going to be an incredible sequence of play, but it's going to really depend a lot on what my opponent's trying to do. That is a mountain. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this out first. I'm going to grab the island so that I have double blue. It may have been wrong to play that there, but I didn't have anything to do with mana in the first place, and I definitely want to be able to cast my spells on curve. Yeah, this guy's definitely on red, so now I could play the Dorat, but then Dorat is very vulnerable to any of red's answers, so I think what the actual thing that I want to do here is just Brazen Borrower the Rimrock Knight. You know, when he goes to his attack step. I can go back to your hand whenever you're ready. Now he can just replay it. It's whatever. It sets him back a turn. We get to develop some more mana. Not upset about that. Now we got the second Dorat, and so that makes me feel like I'm very much encouraged to go ahead and run one of them out. And start attacking. Because if he takes a turn off of developing his board, he already missed the land drop, so if, we're going to go ahead and just try to go for the throat here. If he continues to miss land drops, there's a really good chance that him taking a turn off to kill Dorat is just exactly what we need. Of course, if we start missing land drops, then we're going to be in a bad place too, so we'll see how it plays out. But I don't mind running out the first Dorat here. If I get to untap and keep up neutralize mana, then that becomes a lot better. Ooh, the hazard. I expected him to have something there. Not much I could have done about that. Brazen Borrower wouldn't have been any better. He did find the land. Fearless Fledgling. See, now that's a good one for our bounce card as well. Okay, and here we go. So I get to go find... let's go grab another island. See, I really don't need double red ever, so we're just going to go ahead and leave that. So now, here we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave some stuff up here. We're expecting the fledgling to deal a little damage. We might Soul Sear the Rimrock Knight. Depending on if he finds another land, we could have to worry about Embercleave. I guess we're not worrying about Embercleave. We're not worrying about that getting pumped. Now, we could try to flash in a Sea Dasher to block the fledgling as kind of like a tricky play. And maybe that's the right thing to do. Let's get tricky. Let's force him to use some resources. Now, even if he plays the Rimrock Knight on it, that just lets him trade. You know, the fledgling not getting pumped up here, this just gives us an opportunity to kind of get ahead on our tempo. I expect he's going to do whatever he can to make sure that that Sea Dasher dies. If he doesn't get it killed, then he's in a rough spot. It's going to be a rough spot for him for sure. My mana is really awkward right now. He did shock it. That's fine. I stopped the damage. My mana is really awkward. I want one more mana if I can get it. I did not get it. All right. Well, the Vantress Gargoyle is going to block for me. That's what it's here for, this aggressive red deck. I don't think he has something that can force its way through. Now, he only has 2 cards in his yard. It's going to be a while before it can attack, but the Vantress Gargoyle is patient, and I don't need to cast anything into anything else. I can use my Brazen Borrower whenever I get some time that's in the exile zone. The Vantress Gargoyle itself could get killed by something. Mono red doesn't necessarily run a whole lot that can kill it directly, though. Again, I'm going to kind of be worried about Embercleave here. And if I get Embercleave, there's not a lot I can do about it. Glass Casket. That is an interesting card to play here. But yeah, no, that's going to work for him pretty well. So he's going to get in. If I can get a land to where I can actually play a 2-drop and have, you know, counterspell backup, I'll be in a good place. Until such time, I'm in a bad place. Like, he's putting me down to 9. He could still play something this turn. He is absolutely going to have the tempo advantage here if I don't do something quick. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cycle the extra neutralize because I really want that land. And I don't need 2 neutralizes right now because they're way too expensive. A Bone Crusher Giant, that actually does help me quite a bit. So I can play the Dorat. Get punished for my only playing the one mountain, though. But I'm going to Glimpse of Freedom here, if depending on what he does. Like, I'm kind of hoping he tries to use the Spike again. If he's got another Shock, then boo. I'm going to leave the Dorat as a blocker. Pretend something. The 1 point of damage is really not going to matter. I need a blocker that can trade with his Rimrock Knight. I've got the Glimpse of Freedom to try and dig. Maybe using that ahead of time would have been good, but if he had the Spike Field, that would have been no bueno. He's got something, that's all I can figure, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to block here. Where are we going to block here? We're going to force him to have it. We're going to block here, and then we're going to Glimpse of Freedom. He is going to go for a kill, it looks like. Not much I can do about that, but we'll see if he's got anything else going on. Oh, that is definitely going for a kill. Yeah, and that's going to do it too, because Double Strike on a 5-1. He got there. So, now if I had played this correctly, I would have definitely put down the second red. Oh, and he had the Spike Field Hazard on top. Why not? He can have everything he needs, doesn't he? Yeah, so I definitely didn't play that correctly. Definitely could have done that differently and done better overall. We'll go ahead and play one more game. Maybe I won't mess it up so much next time. Normally that double blue would be the right way to go, because a lot of times you want to cast a counter spell and a blue spell, and those counter spells need double blue, and so 3 blue is usually where you want to be. Obviously sometimes you are going to want that second red, but usually the 3 blue is more important than the second red. That was a game where it turned out that I was wrong. Okay, one more game. Let's see how this one plays out. So if you stuck around this long and you haven't smashed the like and subscribe button, what is wrong with you? He said half sarcastically. Please go ahead and like, subscribe for an early YouTuber like me. That is really helpful. I would appreciate anything that you can throw my way, even if it's just a little bit of elbow/wrist movement to a little bit of finger movement to get that clicky button going. Alright, and again, we got Dorat on turn 2, so let's go ahead and, since we are actually on the play, we're going to keep it. Temple of Epiphany is it's not ideal because it's not untapped, but it is good because it helps us make sure that we're not going to draw too many lands, which is actually what we're worried about here. 3 and 4 is the perfect ratio for the start, but we don't want to draw too many more lands because everything that we do is going to be cheap. So like we want to, untap with Dorat and have protection for him, and then just ride that for the rest of the game. Now, it's not entirely likely, but actually it's one of the things where we actually will wait for a good opportunity for Sea Dasher. We are not going to slam that Sea Dasher on the first turn that it's available, just because we want to keep this negate around to protect it. So we're probably going to try to wait till we have 4 mana, then land the Dorat, and then hopefully the negate is good enough to get us through. Alright, Temple of Epiphany down. Bone Crusher Giant on top. We do want to draw that for sure. Unless our opponent is on some kind of ridiculous control scheme, in which case we still want our threats, which a Bone Crusher definitely is. Alright, Comedy Wop. What you got? What are you playing? Show me that first land. He's definitely taking his time. A swamp. Okay. Swamps could be a lot of things. Even though it could very well be running into some kind of removal, we're going to go ahead and try to enact our game plan and hit with Dorat. Sprite Dragon. Now, there's a good chance that on our end step he would have tried to have played a rogue, but at this point it looks like he did not. So, not really sure what he's on 100%. It's going to depend a lot on what he plays here. Now, like I said, he could have a Blood Chief's Thirst, which would be the best answer for Dorat right now, because he would have the mana to cast it and potentially still cast something else. If that's what happens, then we're going to play our Temple and probably Bone Crush on his end step. What did he got there? Sajiri Glacier. So he's got some kind of creature protection spell there. That's interesting. Okay. So he is some kind of Graveyard Recursion deck. There is not a deck that plays Deadweight that doesn't have the creature to bring it back. So now we've got the Bone Crusher. The Bone Crusher is going to answer whatever creature he tries to play. We've got a Brazen Borrower in case the Bone Crusher can't answer it. And we've got the Negate in case he plays a must answer something else. Lurrus, that is exactly the kind of creature that we want to kill with a Bone Crusher. So, let's do that. Stomp a stomp a stomp. Now he's likely to have more of those. We are going to go ahead and play out that Bone Crusher here, because we didn't draw a land. If we had drawn a land, we might have gone with leaving up Bone Crusher, Brazen Borrower, Negate, / Sea Dasher Octopus. But we didn't, so we're going to go ahead and use our mana efficiently, play that Bone Crusher. Another option would have been to not play anything and leave up a Brazen. Arcana Sun's Grace is definitely going to be dangerous. We're going to go ahead and attack with the Bone Crusher first, because we're definitely willing to make that trade if he's willing to make it. I bet he isn't, but let's see what he does. Now, we could get a card off of this, and that seems great, but I would much rather set him back an entire turn by Brazen borrowing him when he tries to attack with it. Now, he does have protection spells, which is awkward. So, what I think I might do here is just play... I could either play a blocker, or I could Brazen him now so that he definitely works. On the other hand, if he uses a protection spell just to get in for some damage, that means he's not doing anything else. And so I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and leave it up. Just leave my options open. If he just attacks without doing anything else, I'm going to go ahead and try to bounce his creature. Hateful Eidolon. Now, this is the perfect time to try and bounce him, because he'll get value off of that if that enchantment hits the field. So he won't be able to recast it and cast something else on top of it. So we're going to get a little sneaky bit of value. He's going to play the Shelter. That's fine. It's a little annoying because it does negate that, and he's going to get his stuff. But we've got the Bone Crusher for the Hateful Eidolon, so... and he is limited now on what he can play. He's going to take some damage from using that, which is great. That's what we want. Now he's going to get to draw and get more stuff. He's definitely gaining some advantage here. In retrospect, the playing the Brazen was probably the correct way to go. Now we're going to Bone Crush here. Because we absolutely cannot have him drawing cards off of that. We can take some more damage. That's not a big deal in the long run. We're definitely in a bad spot here. We're hoping to draw some of our burns so that we can kill off the Archon efficiently. But he's got protection spells, and God only knows how well those are going to work. So we've got our Vantress Gargoyle, and assuming we don't draw another land, which we didn't, we're going to go ahead and run that out. Now, Vantress Gargoyle, he could have all kinds of removal in his hand, hard to say, but it is something that requires a pretty specific answer, so we're going to go ahead and run that out. If we could get one more land, we'd really be in a good place. Now, the second Archon, if he doesn't answer the Vantress Gargoyle, it's less relevant. Now, he does have kind of an answer for it, which is the... the deadweight does obviously cause some problems. Now, I can actually, if I get to untap, we're going to see what he does here. He's going to go in for a lot of damage. Now, I need to definitely stop some of this. Otherwise, I could have done some kind of sneaky stuff with Brazen Borrower to bounce that enchantment and block and kill his dude. Again, just kind of a victim of not having another land. So we're going to go ahead and make the trade here, which isn't ideal. But we have to get his resources off the board. Now, we finally did draw another land. We're going to go ahead and drop it as another island. And now we've got the Vantress Gargoyle again. Unfortunately, Vantress Gargoyle and all of those tokens he has is not going to be enough on its own. So we're going to go ahead and run it out, though, because there is at least a chance to do some fun stuff, cast some spells, I don't know. Never concede if you don't have to. Now, that's not going to be particularly relevant for the long term of this. I can negate it just to negate it, just to be a jerk to not let him get his Lurrus back. So, yeah, we'll just do that. No Lurrus for you. You've got to attack and let me kill at least one of your Archons. Oh, wait. Playing a spell made I couldn't block. So, yeah. Clearly a non-bow. Alright, so as you can see, this deck is still a work in progress. Not always going to be winners, but, it is a fun style of deck for those of you who like a more brainy side of the game. So, thank you for your time, and hope you have a very nice evening.